The Weed of the Week is sponsored by the Enlist Weed Control System from Dow AgroSciences, a new herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate.
You work to protect your farm's legacy and to keep it going. Introducing the Enlist Weed Control System, an advanced herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate for exceptional control of tough weeds. The next chapter begins.
Aaron, it's nice to see the sun. Unfortunately, our Weed of the Week likes the sun as well. We see our Weed of the Week field sandbur pop up quite commonly in fields late in the season where the canopy might be just a little bit thin.
Well, when you think about field sandbur, it's a warm season grass, so it doesn't normally get a start real early in the season, but it does pop up a little bit later. There's a few things about field sandbur, that really stand out. Obviously, the burrs themselves are pretty easy to identify, but when I look at field sandbur, I think it has a little bit of a different color to it than a lot of the other grasses. Like, for example, with the foxtails, they look a lot more green to me, where the field sandbur looks a little more bluish green or winter green kind of color.
Yes,
and
but
that's one thing I'll notice.
Yeah, but it is kind of hard to distinguish this from the other grasses. It's got a hairy ligule. It may look like just any foxtail early on in the season. So what I always do to try to figure out whether it's a foxtail or it's woolly cupgrass or field sandbur is I'm going to dig the plant up, because the nice thing with grasses is the seed's going to be right below the soil surface usually. You dig that up, you find the little burr there, and it's a no-brainer. It's field sandbur.
Okay, well, field sandbur identification isn't a real big deal, and like I say, especially late in the season when it actually has the burrs on it, it's pretty obvious what it is. The tough thing is getting it under control, because a lot of the pre-emerge herbicides just aren't as good on field sandbur as they are on things like foxtails. So when we look at corn, for example, Eradicane is probably the best product that I've seen on it, but you have to use 7 pints per acre or a little stronger to do a decent job on field sandbur. You could use something like the Balance products. Balance Flex has done a nice job on field sandbur if you get a high rate and you get plenty of moisture. With most of the pre's on corn, we just look for suppression. Then post-emerge, if you're using Roundup in Roundup Ready corn, it's awesome on field sandbur, and actually Liberty and Liberty Link corn isn't too bad either.
Okay, so if you don't have Roundup or Liberty corn, what are you going to do? Accent's about the only choice.
But you got to get it early.
Yeah, you've got to get that sandbur when it's small. The good news is usually it is small kind of late in the season. It doesn't start real early on in the year.
Okay, in soybeans, we actually do a little better with the pre's. Treflan and high rates of prowl actually do a pretty good job. Post-emerge, we've got Roundup again and Roundup Ready beans or Liberty and Liberty Link beans. That's nice. But also the grass killers that we're going to use for volunteer corn like Select Max do a decent job as well.
Okay, how about in wheat? What should you start with pre-emerge?
Well, in wheat, you have to start with Prepare pre-emerge, and that doesn't do too bad a job. We don't normally see a lot of field sandbur out in our wheat, but if you did, I'd start with Prepare. Then post-emerge, come back in with something like Axial to give it another shot and a different mode of action. Now you've hit it with an ALS and you've hit it with an ACCAs.
Well, that's it for our Weed of the Week field sandbur, but stay tuned. Iron Talk is coming up next.